So what would you say to someone now who's still sitting on the fence about trying cryotherapy now that you've done a session?
I would say cryotherapy is fantastic, and that also, like, tune in. Why are you sitting on the fence? Like, it's going to open you to a world of possibility, to like your health, and to just stepping into new experiences. So like, go for it, yeah.
Hello, and welcome to the latest episode of Reinventing Cool. I'm your host, Maria Ensabella, the founder of LondonCryo. On this podcast, I aim to talk to my guests throughout the process of their cryotherapy session, so you can get a behind-the-scenes look into the whole process while getting to know the guests better. And on today's episode, we have the amazing Nic Darke. Nic and I recently met as she has created some amazing guided meditations specifically designed to complement the infrared sauna and red light therapy. She's also a fan of cold therapy, so we're going to be discussing what she does to get herself prepared for cryotherapy. So in today's episode of Reinventing Cool, we have the wonderful Nic Darke with us. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks so much for having me, delighted.
Very good. We met recently through a mutual friend of ours, Jonathan Refoy, and it was at a time where you had started Innate, which is all about meditation.
Yep.
So would you like to tell us the back history to that?
Yeah, fantastic. So really, I didn't start with meditation. I used to work in business, I used to work in tech and innovation, and at the same time I became a yoga and meditation teacher. And so I left that world to go and coach executives, athletes, whoever wants to dive into meditation, because what I really noticed was actually talking about innovation in businesses and change and success. Obviously the human element is really kind of critical and key to that. So yeah, started working with execs, got excited about what I was doing, actually did a TEDx for a company on it, which was really fun, and then just spent lots of time really just honing this type of meditation to be able to help people who might not normally actually enjoy meditation. And so Innate, the clue is in the name. It's about actually, meditation is a natural biological process. Mm-hmm. It's something that's wanting to happen within you already. So like, what is that process? How do you harness it for your benefit? And the reason why we started talking is because I started creating some meditations to pair with the treatments that you have.
Exactly.
Yeah, infrared saunas, red light therapy.
That's right.
And a few more coming. And they sort of came off the back of working with elite athlete clients. You
said something about, this is a different type of meditation. It's not something that, like, because I normally, especially during the pandemic, I tried to meditate. I would download an app and stuff, and I just found that I could do it like for 3 or 4 days in a row, but then I would like not find the time to go back and then continue with that practice. What makes meditation with you different? What kind of meditation is it that will get someone who can't do it normally, but will be able to, follow through with your kind of meditation?
Okay, fantastic. So I think with a lot of mainstream meditation, it follows a principle where you're trying to maybe focus or find some sort of sense of clarity, where you're being guided through something, especially if you use apps and that kind of thing.
Yep.
And it's asking you to really actually focus your attention.
Yep.
is kind of the main point of the meditation. And so if you have thoughts, they might tell you just to notice them, but then like bring your awareness back to something. And that is fine as a practice in and of itself. However, it's quite limited in its ability to support you moving through life, let's say.
Yep.
And it actually kind of comes from a lineage of thousands of years of monks and asceticism, where people sort of discard family and career and sort of being in the throng of life to go and live in a monastery.
Yes.
Which is a fantastic thing to do if you want to do it.
Of course.
And so that meditation practice is really suited to you. Whereas to lots of people who live in a busy world, as we do, there's so much stimulus that you're expected to deal with all the time, and actually your meditation practice should be really supporting you to be able to do that. And so this meditation practice is really rooted in your nervous system to help you basically metabolize
Yes.
life really well, really easily, so that you're kind of in a state of ideally sort of peak performance really.
Yes.
Most of the time, like
Yeah.
sort of optimal well-being mentally, emotionally, physically. With a focus practice, what you're doing is you're sort of being given thoughts or stimulus from your sort of inner world.
Yes.
Basically your subconscious is going, hey, can you take a look at this? And you're going, no thanks.
No.
Right. And what that does is it sort of builds up a backlog of
Right.
things that your nervous system wants to process.
Right.
So the simple flow of your nervous system is to sense, take in information, take in data, process, calculate, learn, use, digest, metabolize, and then express.
Right.
So sense, process, express, right? Take in information, understand it, and then act accordingly. And so a lot of the time when we're super, super busy and we're often operating in like a stress state, often a lot of people are in chronic stress or they don't even
Yes.
recognize that they're stressed, our ability to sense and take in information is limited. Then our ability to process it is hugely hindered, because the way that you process information when you're stressed is
Yes.
completely different to when you're not stressed. And then so the action that we take is not in accordance with how we would like to be, and often actually follows the same habit loops and patterns that we just deploy through habit reaction when from stress state,
Yes, of
basically.
course.
So with this meditation, is that thought is actually like a learning point that your nervous system wants to work through to then release you to sort of go about your day, or like put your
Yes.
attention where you'd like to put your attention.
Yes.
So it's basically the principle that if you want clarity and you want to focus on something, like forcing yourself to try and do that is one way,
Yeah.
but ultimately actually the way that's going to be most helpful to you is to first just remove what is blocking you from being able to do that, which is dealing with all the stimulus, and then developing skills so that you can actually do that well. And
So as part of the work that you do, getting people to first recognise what's actually hindering them and working through those issues before then you can start working, you know, on metabolising it.
yeah, so I mean, there are sort of two ways that I talk about it, especially for sort of performance, is that meditation can really help you remove blockers.
Yes.
And skill develop.
Yeah.
And so really very simply, we start just by building a basic meditation practice where the body can relax.
Yes.
So that might not be sitting cross-legged and bolt upright, like actually what's going to suit you. And then what is your sort of mission in life as an individual?
Yeah.
What are your kind of day-to-day concerns that you need to meet well, or challenges that you have? And so then we build a little practice around that. And then we work on how you want to be.
Okay.
Like, what is your ideal sort of state of being that you want to be in all the time? So I call it your home state.
Right.
Where you're kind of completely free, completely happy, completely confident, relaxed, but super alert and able to sort of like meet anything that life throws you.
Yes.
What does that feel like? And then we soon quickly get into what prevents you from feeling like that.
Right.
Which is all of life's stimulus
Of
that we
course.
have to contend with.
Yes.
So then it's just really just building a practice that allows you to just take on what the nervous system wants to metabolize and process and learn through, and just getting you comfortable with that process, so much so that more and more you can start to bring that home state to play in life, and in, you know, whether you're being pushed out of your comfort zone or whether you are just learning something new, that you're able to come to that quickly, easily, confidently, and in a really positive, expanded way.
You know, is there a best time to practice this? Like, is it a morning thing? Is it a, you know, a nighttime thing? Especially when you're starting out, right?
Yeah.
And then it sounds like it. You know, once you've got the skills to recognise and you've broken down those barriers, it's something that you must be able to just achieve that meditative state. You know, during the day, no matter what you're being confronted with.
Exactly, that's the goal.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
that's personally like my goal is to
Yes.
live in a meditative state as much as possible.
Do you think
Which
you're
is-
in that state now? Do you?
I can go in and out
Right.
of it. So like now I would say I'm a little bit more out of it, a bit more heightened.
Right.
But most of the time I'm in it. Yeah.
Right. Must be an amazing feeling to do that. I don't know what that
It
feels
is-
like.
it-
Yeah.
Well, you just basically, I think I just mentioned, it's a bit like what people consider to be in flow state.
Yes.
Because your just senses are really wide open, and your ability to sort of take in like cues, subtle cues, people's body language, behavior, information, data is just really peaked. And you're receiving all this information whilst completely grounded in your own sense of self, in your own just energy, in a happy, peaceful, confident way, like whatever that is for you.
Yeah.
And processing it easily, and then just being able to sort of react and respond in the way that is just perfect for that moment, essentially.
That's really interesting.
But so, sorry, to go back to your original question. So with the time of day and like how you kind of start to build a practice. So I would suggest to people, like, if you can start in the morning is the best time. If you can only do it once, in the morning is good, because it's going to just tune you in for your day.
Yes.
And if you can do it again in the evening, that's also going to be magic.
Right.
But to start off with, just even building the habit of taking time in the day to just be is a great start. So even if that's just taking 15 minutes in the morning to, I don't know, sit in your favorite chair and look out the window at your favorite view, or with a cup of tea or something like delicious that you love in the morning, or whatever that is. Or if you have a meditation practice and you're starting with that, then great, then do that. But just ultimately the way we build habits is bit by bit, and so actually just get the body, because you know it's not just muscle memory we have, like that nervous system knows how you move through your day all throughout the day, every day. And so just starting to build in that little component of downtime, meditation time, is just going to help you sustain that habit, and then actually just create a practice that's really nourishing for you. Yeah.
Amazing. That sounds wonderful. Now, if I can just relate that back to what you've done now with Innate, and being able to now practice meditation in an infrared sauna, for example, at LondonCryo, because that's what gets me really excited now, is because you're not just coming in, just sitting there for 25 minutes. You can actually learn to meditate in that time while you're in the sauna, right? So what got you to introduce that?
Okay. So I'm a big fan of these treatments anyway, because for me, well-being is kind of not just a physical thing, it's mental, emotional, and physical. But actually these are a fantastic doorway to tune you into the deeper processes of your body. And the name Innate, it's like, let's harness our natural capability. So that's what these treatments do, and that's why I think they're fantastic. So I was working with a footballer, and he had an injury, and so I recommended to him to sort of up his sauna, and he was doing that, but was kind of struggling a little bit to sort of tolerate, to stay in there, because again, if your nervous system is not tuned to kind of receiving that heat a lot, it's going to be difficult for you. And so how do you learn to tolerate? So we'd already been having a conversation about breath work for his performance, to build lung capacity, oxygen absorption, and again, just make sure that that's super efficient for him when he's on pitch. So like his tolerance and performance as high as they can be. And then we said, well, why don't you do that breath work in the sauna, because it's designed to shift your nervous system into a state of kind of healing, and therefore your ability to kind of metabolize the situation in a calm way. And so anyway, so he did the breath work in the sauna, and then the next time we spoke, he was like, oh, it's a game changer. So that's why it's called Game Changer. Game Changer meditation. So it's a really simple first step for people to just show them actually that you have complete power over your nervous system to tolerate situations that you thought you might not be able to, basically. By shifting yourself into a different state, by boosting your oxygen absorption and the way the body consumes it. So that's kind of like quite focused in breath work and body. But then we did a couple more that came out of similar conversations. So red light therapy meditation came off the back of a sports injury. And really the goal with that one was actually to get that person really tuned into their body. Again, to put them into a state of meditation whilst they're receiving red light, because basically when the body goes into a state of meditation, your body goes into a state of rest deeper than deep sleep.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you sleep, your body has all these processes that it needs to do. And in meditation, it doesn't. It has a different set of processes that it wants to do. So that's why the body just goes into deep, deep rest. And as I said, it is a natural function that your body wants to do. All you have to do is create the conditions and let it happen. So getting him to be with the red light in a state of meditation was automatically just going to help his body boost its ability to recover.
Yes.
Because your nervous system determines the pace at which you can heal.
Yep.
If you're in parasympathetic nervous system, that's where the body heals. And actually, just a side note, but also that also determines your immune response as well. So making sure that you're not leaving yourself open to illness and things in general, that is beneficial.
Yes.
But anyway, so putting him into a meditative state with the red light, we've got that point.
Yeah.
So then actually also going deep sensing into the body where the injury is, and actually so bringing your attention into that area of the body and encouraging the healing through really feeling that happening. So
important.
Yeah, exactly. Fantastic. So you hear so many conversations about, oh, think positively, or people trying to create the reality they want through just thinking about it. Just like having positive thoughts is what's going to get you there.
Yes.
It's a first step, but it's not the whole story.
No, that's right.
You actually need to feel.
Yes.
And so this again goes back to that flow of the nervous system of sense, process, express.
Yes.
Also lines up with how you think, feel, and act. So if you're thinking one way, you could actually be feeling and acting very, very differently.
Yes.
Like how you think about things, how you rationalize is really a very separate process to actually what the body is doing and what your stress response is doing. So instead of thinking and hoping that it's going to heal, we got into the state where we're feeling and believing that it is healing. So we're not in resistance of I'm wanting it to heal, which kind of makes me feel like I'm in pain, I'm not healing, or I hope I'm healing. Like that's a less aligned state. It's not a higher vibration. So being in just deep belief that it is healing because you're really feeling that, it kind of removes the resistance of wanting and being stuck in your head about I've got to heal, I've got to heal, I've got to heal, is actually just being with the active process of you healing it, which also actually boosts your body's ability to regenerate cells. And that's actually an epigenetics conversation, where the genes that you're born with don't just determine how you are and your well-being. Actually, your environment determines which genes are switched on and off, and how they're expressed and how they develop, and therefore how happily and healthily your cells grow.
Yes.
So that's the same, that happens with belief and your emotional and mental state. When that's aligned and when that's positive, and when that's really in a state of belief that I'm healing and this is getting stronger and it's fantastic, your body then through your nervous system is kicking out chemicals like dopamine and oxytocin, which are going to help the cells develop in a much more positive, progressive way, rather than, let's say, if your body's kicking out stress, chemicals instead. And just so highlighting the expression of the gene expression of the cell's ability to grow. So like for so many reasons, it was a great thing for him to do. And so now you can just experience that with the red light.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, and that's right. Both in the sauna and just on the red light its own. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, we're going to pivot slightly now. Okay. So I want to ask you first of all, what does wellness mean to you? To be in a state, of well-being and wellness.
So wellness means to me, it's got to be the whole picture. It's got to be mental, emotional, and physical. It's got to be the whole piece. Otherwise, you're fragmenting yourself. So it's about bringing all those things together. And I'm going to come at it from my perspective.
Yes.
So again, it's like, if you're in your home state where you're just completely confident in yourself, that you feel very able to tackle what life throws at you, that 100% plays out because you know that you're strong in body, you know that you have capability to manage your nervous system, which again, as I mentioned, determines your stress state and your immune function, and that is obviously key to your general well-being, like having a well-regulated nervous system. Yeah, so like the essence of it is is that I work with people to help them find their specific meditation practice that is supportive of them as an individual.
Yes.
So again, it's not about pretending like you don't have an ego and bashing that. Like, an ego is really just a way to say that you are an individual, and that's important because that's how you fulfill your mission and purpose in life. So I'm not anti-ego, I'm pro-ego, and then let's make it as wonderful as it can be, as it's meant to be for you, like for you to just completely actualize your full potential here. So yeah, working with people to help them find a practice that really suits them, helps them fulfill their mission in life, helps them learn through experience, metabolize life fully, and just be healthy and happy whilst they do it.
Sounds amazing. So have you tried cryotherapy before? I believe when we met, you told me you had done some cold water swimming, you do cold showers, but have you tried cryotherapy before?
So I've done it, I've done it once before, and I loved it because obviously I love cold therapy, but I understand that cryotherapy is slightly less aggressive on internal organs and things.
That's correct.
And obviously you can better regulate the temperature. Yes. So I mean, I loved it. It's fantastic.
Very good. So let's talk about cryotherapy and meditation. How do you see the two treatments going together? So with cryotherapy and meditation, cryotherapy is still an unknown for a lot of people, right? They think it's really scary. It goes to really cold temperatures. But I always say, and until you do your first session, you don't really know this, right? It is mind over matter. So being able to get yourself into a meditative state before going into the cryo cabin is really important. So and we've had a guest on recently that he was really nervous about doing it, but then he was able to do his breathing, get himself into that state, and then he felt like he had actually warmed up inside to be able to carry on with his cryotherapy session. So do you see the two as being important to work together when you do cryotherapy?
Yeah. I think absolutely. I think you've hit the nail on the head. So obviously, if you have a meditation practice, you can just bring that game to the cryo, fantastic, because it's actually going to allow you to explore the experience much more deeply than just like sort of grinning and bearing it, right?
Exactly.
Or like, how many times in life have you sort of done the equivalent of closing your eyes and pinching your nose and just like swallowing it, like, oh, I just got to get it done, right? And so like meditation is magic in overcoming that. So so there are, there's kind of two ways that you can break through your comfort zone. You can do it through that, I'm just gonna like close my eyes and grit my teeth and like just hope it's gonna be okay, and I've done it, and okay, wonderful, I've done it. Or you can use meditation to, instead of kind of forcing yourself through it, to break through your comfort zone in a really positively expanded way. So you're coming to this new area of life that you've not been to before, like whatever that act is that you're going to do. Again, from your home state, like with complete joy and excitement and curiosity, and like, what's this? What's it going to do for me? How do I do it? Like, how magic? And so, and that's the joy with meditation, whether it's cryo or whether it's anything, is that you want to be able to meet this new thing that you're doing and do it, but do it with skill and do it well and get enjoyment through it, not have to just be like, oh, I'll get it over with and then I can go back to being sort of normal again. It's like, no, it's getting out of your comfort zone, it's expanding you. So be there with it, expand with it, and take all the magic from it.
Amazing. Now we're going to be doing cryo.
Fantastic.
And what are you hoping to get out of it? I'm going to ask you more questions when we're in there, but what are you hoping to get out of your cryotherapy session today?
Oh my God, all the magic that it gives my body, but also just the fantastic feeling. And I'm just going to love the experience of feeling. So obviously, as a seasoned meditator, I have deep sort of sensory capability. So
Amazing.
I mean, earlier doing the cryo swimming, it's not just feeling that in my skin, I can feel that
right through
from within,
exactly,
right?
exactly.
So that doesn't sound too weird.
Right.
So like being in the cryotherapy session is just fantastic for me, because it's such an opportunity to tune in and feel how my body is responding, and just notice like the elevation in my mood as like the hormones start to kick in. I'm just certainly noticing that afterwards as well. So it's a whole fantastic experience for me. Anyway,
amazing.
I love it.
So in your opinion, and with your experience, do you think people recognize when they're in their comfort zone or if they're not in their comfort zone?
Sometimes, absolutely. Right. So sometimes you will have a strong stress response and you'll know immediately when like that's taking you out of your comfort zone.
Yes.
But a lot of the time people actually don't know, because we live in a world which is so busy and so full of stimulus that if you don't have a good meditation practice, the alternative is that you've sort of basically desensitized yourself.
Right.
And we don't always know if we're in a stress state, let alone actually whether something is inside or outside of our comfort zone. And so, like, to explain or to give examples
Yes.
of that. So you often hear of people sort of all of a sudden being diagnosed with anxiety. Oh, they were having a tough time, but oh my God, they've been diagnosed with anxiety. And so, like, that person didn't really know how deeply they were sort of stuck in chronic stress.
Yes.
And that's so easy to sort of break down with people, because you know, you might have a conversation with somebody like, oh, you know, how are you doing? Is that perhaps are you a little bit stressed at the moment? And then what people will immediately do is start to think and try and rationalize whether they are stressed or not.
Right. It's interesting.
So they'll be like, well, am I stressed? Well, I've got this on at work, and yeah, I have to do all this stuff, but that's just busy, and I like a little bit of pressure at work, so that's okay. And then I've got this going on at home, that's fine, you know, whatever that is, we're trying to find a school for the kids or whatever, but like, it's okay, no, it's okay, we can work through all that stuff. It's like, no, I'm not stressed. Because they've rationally sort of tried to process what is the cause,
Right.
why would I be? No, I shouldn't be stressed at all. I shouldn't be stressed, so therefore I'm going to say that I'm not.
So you think they are stressed when they're...
Sometimes, you know, and it's case by case.
Yes. But how does that relate back to being in your comfort zone, or knowing if you're in your comfort zone or not?
Totally. So what happens is basically your rational, logical decision-making, processing part of your mind may tell you that you want to do something, but it will be your nervous system and your basically your emotional state which will determine your capability to function in that well or not. And that kind of resides again in, as I say, in your emotional state and in your subconscious. And if you're not familiar with that ground, then you having the sort of nuanced and subtle understanding of what's going on with you probably isn't going to be present. And so then how that connects then to you coming out of your comfort zone and not knowing what's in your comfort zone or not is that you might logically just be like, oh no, I just don't want to do that, or like, or actually I can do that and it's fine and it's not out of my comfort zone, and then you get there and you try and do it and it's completely out of your comfort zone and you just
Right, okay, yes.
So it's actually really understanding and tuning into what is it that actually might get a rise out of my nervous system. And so having a deep meditation practice allows you to tune in and very qualitatively be able to spot, actually, this is something that I'm not comfortable with. Yes. You know, like you have that niggling feeling,
of
like,
course,
oh, what is it, what is it, what is it?
Yep.
That's fine. So like, dive into a meditation. That's just an example.
That's so fascinating. So Nic, are you ready? Let's get you ready for your cryotherapy session.
Yep, let's do it.
Let's go. So what are your initial thoughts before we start your cryotherapy session?
I'm just super curious. So I've never done cryotherapy in this type of cabin before.
Yes.
So I'm, as I say, curious. And actually, if I can like add, that's really the best mindset to bring in meditation.
Oh, but the unknown
is curiosity.
Okay.
And obviously in life that's just going to stand you in good stead too, because it's open and it's welcoming to receive information and
exciting.
People rather than stuck in your head.
Do you see the future of medicine moving towards including treatments like cryotherapy?
It has to, doesn't it? I mean, like, I hope that treatments like this become the prevalent way that people actually look after themselves, and medicine isn't disease treatment anymore. But
it's so true.
Like, which is often the case with allopathic. And there's nothing wrong, like, don't get me wrong, there are lots of good things that come out of that, but if you're really in a state of well-being, you don't need disease treatment.
No, exactly,
and
I agree.
You're like playing around with optimizing yourself instead of just scraping by. You know?
It's true.
So yeah, for me, fantastic. It's gold too.
Yeah. So, Nic, we're going to get you ready now. How we're going to start is, I'll just explain the process. I'm going to pre-cool the cabin. It's going to go down to minus 100 degrees. There's a platform inside, so once it's ready, you'll step onto the platform. You'll pass your robe over to me. Your head's above the cabin, so we'll be able to speak through the 3-minute session that we're going to do today.
Fantastic.
Any questions?
None.
No? Very good.
if I start feeling uncomfortable,
yeah, we'll just open the door, and get you out, exactly. So shall we do this? Shall we go, right, because you are probably the shortest person, we're going to put the platform right up, okay? So, are you ready?
Yeah.
Let's do this, okay? So, you step onto the platform.
Wow, I am short.
Yep, you are. Oh, actually not that short, so that's fine. And then, I'm going to press start.
Fantastic.
And if you put your hands in prayer position for me, then every 15 to 20 seconds, I'm going to get you to take a quarter of a turn, okay?
Magic.
How are you feeling?
Fantastic.
Very good. And I hope that carries through the whole session.
It will.
I know it will. Please take a quarter of a turn for me.
To you.
Yep.
I can start to feel some muscles starting to respond.
Very good.
A little bit of shaking.
Yep. It's really important to do that. That's how you know you're going to get the benefits from doing it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There you go.
Oh, thanks. Okay.
There you go.
Thanks. Fantastic.
So now you've done your session. How are you feeling?
Fantastic. Fantastic. Like I can feel a sensation of cold. Actually, predominantly under my arms, predominantly in the lower body. But I feel great.
Amazing.
Like, it's this like I love cold anyway, but
yes. And you feel it in those areas, if I can just say,
because that's where there's fat. Totally.
No, it's not what I was going to say. It's because the blood rushes away from those areas and comes to your core area.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So you're more sensitive to that. There's no fat there, right?
Oh, interesting. So, yeah, well, because I thought maybe those shouldn't be too bad.
No, but it's all the blood rushing.
All my chaturangas. Yeah, okay.
Ah, okay. Already, you mean more inflammation?
Yeah, right, because I taught yoga this morning.
Yes,
so,
okay.
Yeah.
It's inflammation rather than fat there.
Okay.
Amazing. So what would you say to someone now who's still sitting on the fence about trying cryotherapy now that you've done a session?
I would say cryotherapy is fantastic, and that also like tune in. Why are you sitting on the fence? Like it's going to open you to a world of possibility, to like your health, and to just stepping into new experiences. So like
coming out of your comfort zone
exactly.
to achieve something like this,
exactly.
right? Amazing.
Go for it. Yeah.
Very good. Thank you for being a guest with us today, Nic.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you. My pleasure.